Now I would like to invite the last presenter of the plenary session, Associated Professor Davide Rizzo from Institut Polytechnique Unilassal in France. He is experienced in agronomy and his research and teaching focuses on description on farmers' practices and at the regional level. And the name of presentation is Mastering Agrotechnology Again, Could the Training of Intermediate Players is the Deployment of Precision Agriculture. Please, the floor is yours.
And please remember that in 1:00 p.m. we have the lunch.
So, thank you, everybody. Thank you, the organizing committee, for inviting me. I will try to make it shorter and to have your attention before the lunch. What are we talking about? Before that, we are three of us working on this topic, and this is the team that shared this thought with you. My aim is to share with you two schemes, two frameworks. But before that, I need to put some context. We talk about a lot of technologies, processes. I will focus on people and how they learn to manage the technologies. And again, a photo of a robotics competition as we saw before. Three moments, but before, who I am, where I'm coming from, then some perspective on agtech, a French focus, because I'm coming from France, and a global framework. So, Unilassal is a small private higher education institute located in northern France. We have roughly 3,000 students. We have 3 campuses working on everything from the rock to the fork, from geology to agronomy. And we are part of a larger world network called the International Association of LaSallian University. Probably some of you already know it. We teach a lot in agriculture and in engineering and entrepreneurship. For instance, this is one of our educational offer totally in English. So if you have students that would like to come in France and learn about the Western way of producing, they are welcome. And as well, we have a master program shared with other university about plant breeding. So we are managing everything that turn around life sciences. My research unit is about organizational innovation. That's why I will talk a lot about the perspective of institution and how this can have an impact on the training program. So, the agtech perspective. Are there new tools for new farming systems? What I mean by farm technologies, I mean robotics and mechanization, and as well the management software, so the non-tangible part of it. I will skip the slides because of the time, but everything is already online if the power goes off. As mentioned, we have also automatization and robots that go with it. So automatic machines collecting and managing data, allowing for fine-tuning the decision-making process. That's why we need to master all these technologies, and especially farmers need to master it. Robots, are they important? There is some projection issued from the Tractica report showing that in a few years, something like 30 years, 20 years, the robot, all their forms will be an important component of the agricultural machinery for self-driven tractors, agricultural drones, etc., etc. But there are a lot of buzzwords. These are some definition I can draw based on the document I will show before. There is precision farming, all that have to do with variable rate application and positioning. We have farming 4.0. We already heard about this. It's the way beyond machinery towards what we can call the augmented, data-driven agriculture. We have the agtech or agritech, a growing pool of cyber-physic interfaces. And then we have the smart farming. Please help yourself. I don't like to compare this with dumb farming. I will skip some documents we used to propose this definition and idea. First, Australia, the Australian perspective. The Parliament asked for an inquiry that stated that agricultural innovation is a combination of different systems that require, we saw, thanks to Karl-Heinz, a multidisciplinary, possibly a transdisciplinary approach. Then the EU, the European Union. Two documents set the scene about the technologies that can have an impact on our future life. The only farming-related innovation that Europe listed among the 20 was precision agriculture. What are they talking about? If I took the fact sheet used for the new Common Agricultural Policy, CAP, we saw satellites, we saw robots, we saw drones, sensors. A small farmer among all these technologies is the digital farming revolution. A lot of technologies and fewer space for humans that are just a part of a machine-to-machine network. If we talk about the actors, first, the farmers. We have the Copa-Cogeca lobby representing farmers and cooperatives. They talk about smart/precision farming, no distinction about that. There is a need for increasing the range of knowledge to master multiple emerging solutions. They call to facilitate technological update through training and advisory services. They believe in farmer-led agritech revolution, meaning that farmers should co-design and have an impact on the innovation in technologies. Looking at the manufacturer position paper, the CEMI, the Confederation of the Manufacturer in Agriculture, they look as data as a technology enabler. Smart agricultural technologies are expected to support sustainable agriculture. And some of the reason was mentioned by other colleagues beforehand. But considering the leverage to implement this new technology, they call European policy to subsidize and to support this uptake because these technologies have a cost, a huge cost. So farmers believe that they should be more central in the concept, in the design of technologies. Manufacturers allow the idea that technologies can help sustainability, and dealers, that means the people having a role in selling and distributing machines, consider more the machine-to-machine communication as an important topic. The training programs of this sector should be improved to master the data that are data portals, infrastructure, data as the glue across the machine system. Academy, us, all of us are called to provide business model to understand what is the value of these new technologies. So to sum up this first part, you have society, putting pressure on two sides on farmers. On the one hand, to reduce environmental pressure. On the other hand, to have safe food for a growing population, misconceiving the services provided by farmers. And then you have dealers and manufacturers. But in the near future, we have more data, real-time data. We have very high precision positioning. We have more complex decision support system based on artificial intelligence and new kind of algorithms that mathematicians are helping us to develop. And then you have a new farming models centered on each plant, each animal in the herd. So across all of that, we need new skills, references to make informed decision, and knowledge that can allow for performance monitoring and to improve traceability. So what about France? On top of these traditional actors, we have the emergence of new intermediate players. What about France? France is the first country in Europe for agricultural production, but is only the third for machinery and new technology production. So there is a gap in between the production system and the production of tools. The agricultural sector needs to have a stronger interface with the manufacturers. And on the other way around, agronomy should support the ag machinery design. About institutional perspective, there are two documents among many reports. The first one was asked by three ministries, infrastructure, economy, and agriculture, state that developing tomorrow agriculture need to imply co-design these new technologies. And robotics, state the perspective at 2025 for France, robotics is expected to involve precise, effective, and safe equipment. Two main actors in this story. The Robagri, France is the only country, for what we know, that has a national accelerator federating more than 60 members to boost robotics. And then you have an international forum on robotic agriculture. These are structuring in a new way the machinery and technology provision. Then you have the farmer's perspective. I purposely chosen a somewhat extreme position paper. It's a plea for technological sovereignty promoted by a group of farmers that we can call engagés, committed. They plea against this techno-centered innovation because this implies huge investment that can have an impact on the agtech divide among farmers that can invest and the other that cannot. And then there is a loss of competencies and autonomy in the use of these technologies. So they call for understanding what are the learning processes, especially promoting networking and living lab. Higher Education Institute, I will skip this for reason of time, but just to have an idea, the squares are a higher education institute having agtech educational program. The red dot are industry, manufacturers, and we can see that they are somewhat far away from one each other, except for the university where I came from. In this region, in the northern part, you have to consider that you have the highest utilized agricultural area in France. So in the first agricultural production country in Europe, this is the region that has the highest arable land. In this region, the public institution created an agri-tech innovation cluster to federate all the actors, especially manufacturers, technical institute, software providers, and academia, but not the classical one, two new players. The first one is an open innovation platform called AgriLab. I will talk about this a little bit after. And then you have a new group called the Chair in Agricultural Machinery and New Technologies, whose mission is to create and reinforce this interface between manufacturers, education, and farmers to find a new way of training. So, to sum up, the the current Commissioner for Competition told us that computers and algorithms are taking our life and we need to build trust. Even if we don't know mathematics, we need to understand how they work. For that, a lot of people is already finding new way of mastering technologies. Do it by yourself on YouTube and by video. There are a lot of tutorials teaching you how to do again things that before we knew it, how to do. There is the Fab Lab network. The Massachusetts Institute of Technologies created this outreach project to allow people to fabricate by themselves. And in this way, specifically for agriculture, there is the open source ecology. There is a project to develop the blueprints for creating a village from the scratch. And this created a lot of new workshops about reconstructing machines from the scratch to understand really how these technologies that I have in front of me, if I consider just audiovisual, works. It's not enough. The bigger pictures is the Agricultural Knowledge Information System. AKIS, probably you already know this acronym. There are a lot of demonstration for promoting peer-to-peer learning. Instead of machine-to-machine networking, we can boost innovation by allowing farmers sharing their knowledge and their capability. For instance, there is the Farm Demo Hub joining together 3 European projects to understand how sharing knowledge across farmers. At the farmer level, there are several networks and tests in the real life of robots. I mean, the Central challenge was on 50 hectares, totally cultivated by a robot. What are the regulation changes and what is the capability of farmers to manage this new way of producing? In this sense, new networks are emerging in France, especially, at least I talk about the country I know. Ferme is for farm, and there is Farm 3.0 that allowed the farmer to have a complete new way of producing. So how robots, new technologies can make agronomy evolve? And the other way around, how new way of producing can ask for new technologies. And the other is the Ferme Leader. It's a network to producing applied knowledge. Farmers, before to go for new technologies, want to know what is the real impact in a real farm. So they are sharing their knowledge, especially across early adopters. To sum up all of this, you have the machinery constructor and manufacturer, the newcomers, the agtech providers, a lot of times coming from other sectors, for instance, Bosch working in machine and cars, coming into agriculture with a new understanding of this. You have dealers, and then you have contractor, people using machine but not having the farm. And then you have all the constellation of farmers and new way of sharing knowledge, because we are observing that services are being separated from knowledge and products. In this way, you have new technologies that are changing the tools available for farming. You have dealers and distribution that play a crucial role in sharing technologies and knowledge to master it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have new skills required by farmers. And there is the emergence of independent and demo trainers, because farmers are organizing themselves to master these new technologies. So the take-home message: education, innovation, training. First, from education to innovation, we need to strengthen the creation of applied knowledge, mastering the agtech solution currently emerging, and for the most exogenous, to the agricultural sector can benefit from engaging students and farmers in problem-oriented and project-based learning, the transdisciplinary approach in another way of talking about it. We need a practitioner approach to contribute with solutions better suited for farmers. We can exploit the promotion and training of peer-to-peer knowledge exchange to master these new technologies, and then to observe how new business models are created. But on the other way around, we can go from innovation to training for supporting the adoption and the deployment of agtech. The renewal of farmers' population, there will be a lot of new generation, fewer farmers, but more trained, on top of the availability of embedded and connected sensor and advanced technology, open a new way and a need for new farming system. First of all, agronomy first could be a way of doing. First, how new farming system can solicitate and make emerge new technologies and not the other way around. That augmented agriculture and agronomy based on farmers' knowledge can be the way of doing. And finally, the co-design of agtech at the junction in between life sciences and engineering. So my final message, agtech are promising to solve sustainability issue of agriculture, but new skills are required to embed this agtech into the evolving farming models and systems. Who will define the new knowledge and its value? Thank you. What are your questions? Everything is available and accessible. You want to go straight to the lunch, I guess. We talk about donut, then barbecue, and
After lunch, maybe.
yeah, during the lunch, I
maybe
will
during
have
lunch.
probably a short
question.
one. I think I will need translation.
As I understand, what is should be the capacity of all innovations and economical return? Yeah.
This is a good question. Yeah. You have new values that are being created, values by data, because having real-time data, you can have a lot of feedback about environmental performances. Who is taking advantage of that? The food suppliers, for instance, the agri-food sector can have a value on that. And then you have the training need for mastering and exploiting this, the agtech potential. And there are the dealers very interested in providing new services. But what is the value for farmers? We need to train them and make them aware of the value they are giving away with their data.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.